These are the plaintiffs, Matthew Whitty and Caitlin Kevaney. Caitlin says they purchased a sick puppy from the defendant, returned it a few days later, and was never given their refund. The defendants actually accused them of abusing the puppy and are refusing to return the purchase price. For the record, they love dogs, would never harm an animal, and just want the $950 they paid returned because the dog was unfit for sale. These are the defendants, Joanne Carlozzi Morial and Frank Morial. Joanne says the pup she sold the plaintiffs was in perfect health when it left her home. She thinks the puppy was dropped and injured, and now they're demanding their money back. The plaintiffs inflicted harm on this poor pup. She had to be put down, and there's no way they're returning a penny to the careless, dog-harming plaintiffs. They're accused of selling a puppy in poor health.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiffs bought a puppy that turned out to be sick, returned it to the defendant, but didn't get their money back. Now, the defendant says that the plaintiffs abused the dog. It's the case of one sick puppy.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Matthew Whitty and Caitlin Kevaney?
Yes.
All right, you're suing Joanne Carlozzi Moriali and Frank Moriali? All right, for $950, the cost of a puppy that you bought from them that you had to return because it was having seizures. What happened?
We found out through a friend of a friend that Joanne was having a litter of Yorkies, and we were very interested in getting one. So we purchased a Yorkie from Joanne and took her home on December 20th. And it was perfect. We had a great Christmas with the little puppy. We named her Gemma. We took her to our vet the very next day after we picked her up from Joanne's house, and she was fine, perfect.
Do you have the vet records from that day?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You picked her up on the 20th and took her?
We took her home on the 20th.
On the 20th, and then the 21st you took her to the vet?
Yes.
Yes. It's right at the top.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
So everything's fine, and then when do things become not fine, indeed?
So on the Saturday, the 28th, we noticed that she started like shaking in the morning, so we called our vet because we knew that they were going to be open. The vet said bring her on down, and the vet said it potentially could have hyperglycemia, which is very common in small breed dogs. So he said that we should just monitor her. They did blood work just to ensure to see, what the blood levels were. But where we had fed her in the morning, the blood medical test wouldn't be accurate. So he said you'd have to just monitor her and bring her back, but you'd have to go through a fasting so they could get a true record of the, glucose levels in her blood. But he said take her home. She was not presenting anything in the office at that time. So we took her home, and her condition just worsened, and she kept having seizures.
Throughout the night?
Throughout the whole day. This was in the morning we took her to the vet. Throughout the day, she was losing her bowels, like foaming at the mouth. It was just horrifying to see full body, seizures.
So did you take her back?
So I called the vet back and I said, oh my gosh, it's really getting bad. I'm not really sure what to do. And he said, clearly this is way more than hyperglycemia. You should contact the breeder because maybe there's something that they know about or, something that they've dealt with. So I called Joanne, the breeder, and I said, I know this puppy's really sick. And we agreed to meet, and I was going to return the puppy. So we met that evening on the 28th.
Okay, the same day that you had taken the dog in.
Yes, because the condition just worsened so dramatically.
Right.
But Joanne agreed to meet us, and when we talked to her on the phone, I said, we have to return this dog. I had lost a puppy in the fall, not a puppy, my dog for like 5 years, and I just couldn't go through like a medical issue with the dog, and where our vet said it really was more than hypoglycemia, I couldn't take that on. But as we gave the puppy to Joanne the day of the 28th, I had written up a document saying we purchased and we're returning the dog for medical reasons, and she signed it agreeing that she was going to give us our money back.
May I see that? Tell me what's going on.
Okay, first of all, her first seizure was not on a Saturday. It was on the Thursday, 2 days prior. She had small seizures. And then that's what she had told us. And then they didn't take it to the vet until Saturday after so many seizures. And I asked
What
her...
evidence do you have of what you just said? Because watch this, hold on one second. Did you watch the dog go through seizures for 3 days without giving it medical?
Absolutely not.
Okay, stop and listen to me. Now I need you to prove what you're saying. So just prove it to me.
It was via the phone call after all this went down and they wanted their money back. The story come out that on Tuesday, prior to Christmas, she had a small baby seizures that lasted 2 seconds. Then on Thursday, it supposedly had more seizures. So not till Saturday did they take it to the vet. The vet checked it out and said it was okay. Then on the way home from the vet, it began having more seizures. So rather than go back to the vet, they decided to call Joanne and say, come and get this puppy. Now, Joanne's upset because it was the baby of the litter, and she was crying. She brought her daughter down there, and they would not give her, she wanted to take it to the hospital. They wouldn't give it to her until she signed. They forced her to sign the thing. So she had signed the thing.
Were you there?
He was not, but I got a
Okay,
statement.
can I hear from you?
Yeah, I say exactly what he said. I was mad. I had said to them, "What is wrong with you? Why didn't the vet keep it?" I called my vet and I said, "If this has happened, what would you have done?" He goes, "We would have kept the dog if it was having seizures. You don't let a dog with
What
seizures
happened with the
go
dog?
home."
Where's the dog?
It passed away.
What did the dog pass away from?
Is it dicey to buy from a breeder? There are lots of stories about inbreeding and whatnot.
I think if you go to a reputable breeder, it's still a good deal. If you want the dog that...
Anybody have an issue with breeders? Just the overbreeding and the mills and whatnot?
I wouldn't go to like a private one. I go to corporation to make sure it's safe. Because they could easily do it.
This guy's going to buy a dog from McDonald's going inside the courtroom.
This is all hypothetical. The vet that we talked to that was on call that night said that the puppy had water on its brain, and it was either a number of different things that could have caused the problem. You want me to go into that?
Well, probably not, because you probably don't have a stitch of evidence for anything
We
that you're
don't,
about
just
to tell
from
me.
what she had told
Right,
us.
so please
Yeah.
explain to me, though. Let's just tell me what your theory on this is. You shouldn't hold me to the settlement I arrived and signed with them because it was under duress.
Yes, and
I shouldn't have to refund their money despite the fact that the dog is this sick, because what?
because she let it go for a couple days, took it to her vet. She just said
She says she didn't. So now I need
No.
you to prove that
Well,
she let it go for 5 days, like your
All
husband's
right,
saying.
she's saying that, but
Well, I understand, but if you're saying
no.
I just need proof of what you're
My
saying.
daughter
Just show
has
me
a
where you got
statement.
this from.
My daughter has a.
Your daughter's not here for me to cross-examine.
I have her statement though. She talked to her. She was the one who talked to her in the car before we got the dog, and she told Angie everything.
Right, and she's going to say that your daughter has it wrong, and your daughter isn't here. It's a piece of paper, but I'm happy to look at it.
So we
Go
can't say
ahead.
that she said she started her seizures on Thursday. That's what happened, but she's going to say no, right?
Of course, but hold on. And not only that, but let me just tell you that what she told the vet before everything hit the fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, right? So
Yeah.
this is what we can trust. Because
Yeah.
this is before she's thinking of returning a dog. She just wants to save her dog's life. Seizure started this morning. That's what she told the vet. So do you understand how unlikely what you're saying? I just want you to listen to me.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I need you to just wait. And I need you, because everybody's very upset. And I understand
Yes.
because it's a beautiful little dog.
Yes.
It's a beautiful little dog.
Yes. She shouldn't have died. No.
And it's a shame that she died and
No.
everything else. What we're talking about is, do you have to refund the money or not? Wouldn't this be reliable?
Okay, can I mention something? Why
First, you're
didn't
going
her
to
vet-
answer me?
Yeah, that's true. But
Okay.
why didn't her vet keep it?
I don't
Why
know.
didn't she have the vet keep it? My dog is having seizures. It's my new puppy. I take it to the vet. It's having seizures. Okay, thank you.
I don't know. What
All
was
right.
what was your vet able to do with the whole seizure incident? Not a damn thing.
Oh, they did emergency. They put her in C-section. They gave
It
her-
wasn't our doctor.
How did
it
it
was
help?
an emergency. It was
How
an
did it help?
emergency hospital.
Right. Did it help?
No, it
Right.
didn't
How
help.
much
No,
are you out?
because it had
How much
had
are
a-
you out as a result of all of the efforts to
19.
save?
The $1,000 that night at the.
No, it was more than
emergency.
that. It was 1,900. You said, right? 1,900.
No. It was
No?
$1,000 at the emergency.
She is. Her pregnancy was $2,000. Our dog when
Oh,
she
maybe
had.
that's the
When
bill.
she had the
But
C-section.
the whole thing is she had substantially a lot of seizures because when my niece took her in the car, because I was in the car, she was out of it. She was drooling. She had many seizures.
Okay.
You just don't have a seizure and
Among
the
the
doctor
many
lets
things
her
you've
go.
said is that you think they dropped the dog.
We don't know.
Okay. Do you have any medical evidence that they did something to the dog?
Nothing that they did
I don't
to
have
the
any
dog.
medical evidence
or
that they
nothing
did
we
something
did.
for the dog, but if they want their money back for the pet, according to Massachusetts state law, under the lemon law, they had 2 days to get a note from their vet showing that the dog was diseased.
Show me what you just said.
I did.
It's
I
a
read it
lemon.
on
Oh.
the computer.
The lemon
It's
law.
not 2 days. You're wrong. It's not 2 days.
It's not 2 days? What is
No.
it?
You can
Oh, I have
read
the
it.
lemon law written, 14
Right.
days.
It's not 2 days.
If you want to see the
She
actual.
cut some
yeah.
out. So,
How do you know she cut
because
some
we
out?
looked at it as that she gave us.
It's towards the bottom. It's a bullet.
Frankie, you have
What do you
something
want?
saying that.
I don't have anything saying that.
No. What it is, no, it's the same as it is in most states, which it gives you several weeks.
No, but about the Cape Cod paperwork, that she wasn't diseased.
No, I want you folks to listen to me. I know this is special to you because it affects you, because it affects all your pockets and it affects a dog that you love.
It's not the money to me.
But it is very run-of-the-mill. This is a contracts case. You sold her a dog, the dog died. She couldn't keep the dog. And you promised and signed something saying that you'd refund her money, and then you didn't. And that's not duress. Duress is somebody puts a gun to your head or threatens to harm your child. This is not duress. Legal duress is a very different animal.
I understand.
Okay? And it's emotional. I understand that. That doesn't mean that you're not bound by it. My verdict in this case is for the plaintiffs in the amount of the $950.
That's wrong.
All right, well, she doesn't look very happy coming out here. Of course not, after losing this battle in this case. Stand right next to her. What's going through your mind here?
She started her seizures on Thursday. They apparently lied. She told me on the phone she started small seizures on Thursday, and if she had it treated, my dog wouldn't be dead today, and I wouldn't have had to put her down.
You realize this boiled down to a contract case. It's a contract you sign and then you're
because they held the dog at bay until I signed it so I could rush it over to the Cape Cod Hospital.
Okay. All right. All right, head right down this way.
All right, guys.
So you get what you sued for. How are you feeling coming out?
I'm feeling happy for the, I feel obviously very devastated for the fact that we had to go through this with the dog, beautiful dog, but it was truly, a natural born illness, and it should not have died.
How much do you miss this dog now?
A lot. She was a real little honey. She was really cute, and she was, we loved her even though we only had her a week.
Sad. Harvey?
A lot of people think, I didn't have a choice, I had to sign it. Guess what? Unless there's a gun to your head, you have a choice, and duress doesn't work. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.